Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new sewing video. My belly is growing like crazy. I feel like every day I look in the mirror, it's just bigger. How much bigger is this going to get? I'm worried. And more of my wardrobe is starting to no longer fit. So I need some maternity wear. Now I actually received something absolutely wonderful recently, which is this book that I just know you guys are going to love. It's called A History of Maternity Wear. This book is newly released, it's from 2024, and it basically documents the history of maternity wear, obviously. They mostly focus on the period starting from the 1700s to now, but it is a wealth of information, very well researched, lots of images, sources for everything. It's a really good book. And then they also have patterns. Patterns for pieces inspired by different time periods, of course. So I spent some time reading through all of this in one sitting because it was really fascinating. And now I'm inspired to make myself some new maternity wear. So one thing that really stood out to me was a certain type of skirt pattern. The 1930s is when this was first patented, but a then new type of skirt pattern where you basically have a cutout that goes underneath the belly, and that allows you to not have to change the hemline, because obviously as the belly grows the hemline kind of rises because the fabric is just picked up. But when the fabric of the skirt goes underneath the belly, there's no need for that, which is a fantastic way of sewing non-stretch fabrics. This pattern of maternity skirts was popular for a few decades and then fell out of favor as stretchy fabrics came along. I feel like it still would be wonderful to use with non-stretchy fabrics, so woven fabrics. And of course, if you guys remember the last maternity skirt I made, I had a bunch of that fabric left over. It is this fabric right here, which is a lovely thick wool blend, I'm fairly sure. Last time I made a pleated skirt with this, which did add a lot of bulk, but I feel like this would be absolutely perfect for one of those 1950s style narrow pencil skirts. That's what I want to do. I actually want to make two narrow 1950s style pencil skirts because I kind of struggle. I kind of struggle dressing the bump for winter. It's freezing and I just want to bundle up in warm sweaters. But bundling up in a sweater and then having a bulky skirt over top just makes me feel huge in this kind of like central area. So I feel like maybe having a pencil skirt underneath and then just a sweater on top would make me feel more comfortable. There are some lovely, lovely images in this book from the 1950s of maternity ensembles where they wear those types of skirts with a blouse on top, but it really demonstrates the idea very well, like how this works and what this looks like. So what I would love to do is, yeah, indeed, just make a very nice narrow pencil skirt with a slit in the back so that I can walk in it. I want to have it maybe slightly over knee length with one of those kangaroo pouches, as they're called, in the front. And then I can just wear a thermal shirt underneath. I'm sure it'll be plenty warm. That way I'll be able to wear this until the end of my pregnancy without having to worry about the rising hem, because my belly at this point is growing very fast. Then as I was digging through my stash to find that, I came across this. You may remember this. I used this fabric to make a Victorian cycling sweater inspired sweater. Because that sweater is knitted and this is obviously a fake knit. It's a stretchy fabric made with this like 3D cable knit pattern. And I think I have just enough of this to make a pencil skirt, but a really simple pencil skirt. Because this is actually stretchy fabric, I think this should honestly maybe just be as simple as making a tube. And that would be it. Just a tube with a waistband. And then I could also wear this with sweaters. God, winter maternity wear is so difficult. I kind of wish I was pregnant in summer because I have so many ideas for maternity summer dresses, but winter is just hard. Since I feel like this is so simple, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that in. See if I can make it work. So that's the plan for today. I'm gonna try and make two 1950s inspired maternity skirts. One the proper historical way and one with a modern cheap stretchy fabric. But before we get started, I did want to take just a little moment to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, because this video is very kindly sponsored by Skillshare, and I'm really excited to have them back on my channel because Skillshare is one of my favorite ways of learning new skills. If you're not familiar with them yet, Skillshare is an online learning platform that allows you to explore loads of different topics ranging from creativity to productivity, self-development by very knowledgeable people that offer very high quality information. So if one of your resolutions for 2024 was to maybe pick up a new hobby, learn a new skill, learn more about something that you're already into, Skillshare is a fantastic place to start. Skillshare offers a wide variety of learning paths, which are curated sets of different classes, all surrounding the same topic and kind of increasing in difficulty as you go along to take you from beginner to expert level on the topic of your choosing. One of them that they have that I definitely plan on taking this year is the one called Discover the Art and Science of Drawing. I used to draw so much when I was younger, but it stopped at some point after high school. But it is something I would very much love to get back into, and this is a wonderful collection that takes you through the basics first and then fairly advanced drawing knowledge. This might just be how I spend at least a portion of my maternity leave this year. I have a wonderful offer for the first 500 of you. To click the link in the description box below, we'll get a free 1-month trial for Skillshare. So definitely be sure to check that out. I can highly recommend them. Huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And now let's head to the cutting table. I'm gonna start with the stretchy white skirt, just so that I can, first of all, give myself a quick win, hopefully sew something successful, and then, you know, that helps me get more motivation for the second project. Also, if I can finish this in one day, I can wear it tomorrow. And my need for new maternity clothes is dire. Basically, this bit of fabric that I have is exactly the amount of fabric I need to make my skirt. I feel like the length is good. I feel like the width is pretty much exactly what I need. So I'm just gonna make this into a rectangle, sew it up, hem it, and see where I land on the waistband situation. Because this little extra bit, if I piece this together, I might have enough here to do something waistband-ish, if it's even necessary at all. Oh, I really, really hope it's as simple as just sewing up a rectangle and finishing the edges. That would be wonderful. And I feel like this is a perfect fabric for winter. So it would be great if it would just work that way. Let me just do the simplest of simple things. Sew up the side, create a tube, try it on, see what we have, see what needs adjusting. I forgot to turn on my microphone here, but what I'm basically saying is that I created my little tube, I hemmed the bottom with just a regular, normal little double fold hem, and now all I need to do is try it on, see what we have, although I expect that I will need to remove a little bit of fabric right at the small of my back. And yes, indeed, I do. There is quite a bit of extra fabric there. So how I'm going to do this is just pinch it on my body. I've put it on up inside out so that I can just pinch it, pin wherever I need to remove the extra fabric, and then simply sew along the pin lines. So once I have pinned everything so that it actually fits snugly to my body, I'm just going to carefully take this off. And then as you can see here, I have a pretty clear line of where I should sew. So just to be sure that everything is symmetrical, nice and smooth, I'm just going to draw a sewing line with a little water-soluble marker so that I know exactly where to sew. Then I just go ahead, pin this shut, and now I can just sew this up, and then I should have a perfect fit. That worked great, so now I can go ahead, snip off this excess fabric, and I have a much better fitting shape. So what I'm trying to figure out now is the waist. Do I do a waistband, or do I do a fake waistband and just simply hem the top? Because I feel like if I do a traditional waistband in this fabric, I'm gonna once again add a lot of bulk to this one area where I don't want bulk. Seam allowance fabric, seam allowance, 6 layers of this fabric. Considering how the hem of this looks, I think if I just did a wider hem on the top, I might get away with it looking like a fake waistband almost. Maybe I'll just try it and see what happens. Let's try it with pins first. Just kind of like a test run. I think this could work, and I might even run an elastic through this waistband for even more adjustability there. Let's try and sew this up, see how it looks. The first skirt is done. I love it. This is just what I was hoping for. I also found this sweater that goes wonderfully with it. It doesn't go with all my sweaters. I figured out this looks best by far if I wear a sweater that is plain, so it has a finer knit, like no cable knits or anything like that, and also no print. Just works better when the skirt is the focal point, otherwise it's a bit too much. So it wasn't as versatile in my wardrobe as I had hoped, but it works. I at least gained one outfit, which at this point in my pregnancy, I will happily take. Very, very happy with this, and I'm also glad that I made this first, because it did give me a few pointers as to what I need to watch out for when I'm patterning the second one, because that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna make the 1950s inspired pencil skirt with the kangaroo pouch cutout for my baby bump. What I definitely want to do, if I look from straight ahead, I think I want the other one to taper in a bit more at the bottom, like around the knees, which means I will definitely for that one need to make a slit down the back, which is fine, but I just need to remember to do that. Of course, I now know I will need to do some type of dart in the back. Probably just the same thing again. I think I'm gonna do a front and a back seam. And other than that, I think honestly, I should just start by draping it around my body. That worked fairly well. That way I can determine, can I probably can't drape that around my body now, can I? Because it's gonna have the cutout for what is currently the widest part of my body. Maybe I just drape it, maybe I measure my hips. Maybe this time I need to use my tape measure. Just measure around the hips, determine the width of the skirt that way. As I was thinking of how I was going to construct this, I realized that I will probably need to line this. So I need to look for a fabric that will be suitable as a lining for this, but that will save me a lot of trouble in terms of trying to figure out what to do with the waist and also this cutout. If it's lined, then all of the seams will be neatly tucked inside, and I will also have somewhere to attach the strap to that I need to tighten it over top of my bum. Okay, with all of that out of the way, I think it's time to start the pattern construction. I'm really excited. If I get another outfit out of that, I will feel like a wealthy person. So let's get started. Okay, I now have my two panels, which are two side panels, and I think in order to figure out, since I'm not using any pattern for this, in order to figure out my pattern, I guess, what I'm gonna do is sew up the back side, just as I did with my tube skirt yesterday, but I am gonna leave a 15 centimeter slit on the bottom, because I do know I do want to do that. And then I will just do the same thing that I did yesterday. Eventually I will put on the skirt inside out, pinch away any excess fabric at the small of my back, and then just take that away when the skirt is more finished. For now, I'm gonna sew up the back so that I can figure out where I need to create my kangaroo pouch in the front. Let's see, the 15 centimeters from the bottom. I have quite a nice selvage here, actually. Part of me is considering just leaving it and not even having the bottom, but I don't think I can do that. Brings it to right around here. So I'm gonna sew up all the rest of it. I didn't end up finishing the slit because I realized that if I want the bottom to taper and I don't have side seams, I will need to take that away from the front and back seams. So I might still need to adjust that. So I'm not finishing it for now. Let's see where I need to start my kangaroo pouch. So I think I want the waist to sit right around there in the back. And that means that my kangaroo pouch then needs to start, yep, right around this bit of the pattern. Oh, this pattern is so convenient. So let me just mark that with a pin and we can start tracing out the shape. I measured around my bump, and if my calculations are correct, which is always a bit questionable, I think I need to remove 20 centimeters on both sides from the front of my skirt for my kangaroo pouch. So that means I will need to create a little U shape between here and the pin that I have here. And it should be a U shape. So I think I'm gonna make it come down as far as possible and then just swoop like this. And that should more or less be my shape. How I measured it, in case anyone wants to replicate this, I measured around the waist, like at the height where I set the top of the waist. I measured around like this, kind of like this length, just around the back of my body, subtracted that from the total width of my fabric and then divided that result by 2. So hopefully this doubled should be pretty much the span that I need to, you know, have room for my bump. If I measure over the bump, it's going to be too much because I need just the width of my bump and not how much it protrudes, if that makes sense. Sewing math. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is just cut this out with a little bit of seam allowance because I will need to create the lining in this. I'm cutting through both layers, by the way, so that it's symmetrical. This does raise the question, actually, something I hadn't thought of before. How will I put this on and take it off, especially once I taper it? Because it's not stretchy this time like the other skirt. Do I need to make a zipper somewhere? Or maybe actually the belly hole kangaroo pouch makes up for that. Okay. Not bad. I think it's safe to sew this up. I tried on the skirt several times and I did end up slanting these seams quite a bit. I don't know if you can tell here, but I just took a little bit off of the top here in the small of my back, and then on the bottom I did it quite dramatically because I felt like it just looked better if it was a more of a tulip, I guess, shape. So I tried taking everything just off of the back. Couldn't really make it work, so I decided to take some off the front as well. So I did do a diagonal along the front too. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and trim off the excess fabric so that I can then copy this pattern onto my lining fabric. I'm just gonna make sure to leave a bit of seam allowance. That's how much I took off the front. That's how much came off the top of the back. And then, this is the most dramatic change, I think. Quite a bit off the back there, which I'm gonna gently carry over into my slit. Alright, so here's my new pattern. And now I can go ahead and trace this onto my lining fabric. There's my lining. So now I just need to sew this in the same way that I did the overskirt. So one seam here, and then I can attach them together. This is going really well. I have my skirt, I have my lining, and I found these two ties, ribbons in my stash that I think could work for this project. Looks sturdy enough. So I need to assemble everything now. So what I'm going to do is slip the lining into the skirt, right sides together. So I flip the skirt inside out so that the seams will be touching each other. And I'm going to sew this to the outer fabric along the top. So that's going to be the waist as well as the kangaroo pouch. And as I'm doing that, I'm also going to sew the straps into the lining so that those are neatly attached as well. And I was also thinking that I might actually sew the lining to the slit in the back as well. I'm not sure how that works. I've never made a skirt with a slit before. I don't know if that is what you usually would do with a slit, but I do feel like it would be good to do because that also prevents the lining from peeking out. So yeah, I'm gonna attach the lining to the fabric around the slit as well. Here's my kangaroo pouch, and my straps need to go in between the lining and the fabric, which means I need to shove them in here like that, and just have a little bit peeking out just below the seam allowance like that, and that's where this is going to be attached. So I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side, pin everything together, sew it all up, and then I'll come back to show you. We can flip it inside out together and take a look at the result. And fingers crossed it's good. Okay, so apparently sewing both the top and the slits at the same time doesn't work because I wasn't able to turn it inside out. So I unpicked the slits, turned it inside out, re-sewed the slits, and now we have a skirt. It's pretty much done. All I have left to do is the hem, and I'm thinking since this is such a nice selvage, I might just turn it towards the inside, do a single row of top stitching, call it a day. I think it might be even nicer, honestly, maybe if I whip stitch this by hand, because that way I can make it invisible. I haven't tried it on yet. And I think before I spend all that time hand stitching, I want to try it on. So let's see what this looks like. It definitely doesn't need any other type of closure, that's for sure. And there we go. Oh, it's very tight now because I have another skirt underneath, of course. Honestly, not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, okay, I can safely hem it. And the second skirt is finished as well, and oh my gosh, guys. I like this so much more than I thought I would. With this sweater, I found at least one sweater that works with it, which means we have an outfit, which means it's a win. But I actually really like this for a change. Most of my pregnancy outfits have had the emphasis above the bump, and I kind of like the change of pace to the emphasis being, or like the cutoff point being below the bump. It's just a completely different look. I will have to have a bit of a longer rummage through my wardrobe to find maybe some more tops that are long enough to reliably fit over this. Like the edge is very close to the bottom of this sweater. I'm wearing a slip dress, don't worry. The kangaroo pouch is quite large, but it is so comfortable. It's so good. This is actually a fantastic skirt shape. Obviously you do need a slip underneath, even if it's just for warmth. With that in place and something on top, this is so comfy. I did make the skirt quite tight around this area. With pencil skirts, they need to be a little bit tighter. It doesn't provide a lot of range of motion. I definitely prefer my circle skirts, but for a pencil skirt, I love the way this looks. I'm very happy with the slits. And it was so much fun to try this vintage style of maternity wear with the kangaroo pouch that will hopefully, yeah, it will, and not just hopefully, it will provide a lot more room. It doesn't really matter how big my belly grows in this, I will always be able to wear this. Yay! That concludes our video. We have made 2 pencil skirts. Both were really quick and simple projects. I made both of them in just a few hours. And I feel like these would be wonderful beginner-friendly projects for someone who's just starting out with sewing. Oh, by the way, before I forget to mention this, I did end up hand sewing the hem. So it is just whip stitched. Yeah, there's not much to see. It's a really clean, seamless look on the outside, and I'm glad I took the time to do that because it didn't take very long at all. Because this hem is not very long. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me on my journey in creating a wearable and comfortable maternity wardrobe for myself. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see all of the other stuff I will be up to in the upcoming months. Don't forget to check out Skillshare through the link in the description box below and redeem your free trial. There's another video here that I think you might also enjoy. You can go watch next. Thank you so much once again, guys, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!